All right, awesome. So thank you for getting on tonight. I appreciate that. I just wanted to go over a couple things. Some of you guys were in the meeting that we had, the LDW, this past couple weeks with Jason Wick. And in the meeting, he had, oh my gosh, a ton of great things to talk about. But he talked about support structures that helped support your distributors, your preferred members, your customers, and duplication. And he was talking about, him and Amber were stuck in their business at 20K, which, oh, poor miserable them, right? But they were stuck in at 20K. And they, had a meeting, they sat down and, short terms basically went through, what worked for them before in Herbalife, and came up with some simple, things that they do in their business. And they came up with 10 steps of things that they follow as an organization. And just by adding the 10 steps, and they collaborated with all of their leaders to get those 10 steps, is their royalties raised 100,000 volume points in 1 month by duplication. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, 100,000 volume points in 1 month. So I was thinking about, our organization and how Herbalife is simple if you do it and simple if people don't do it. But I think, for instance, when we first created the weight loss challenge, think about that. When we first created the weight loss challenge, Angie and I and, whoever else that worked with us really got it down to a science at what we did. And then we were able to teach that to the masses. And by doing that, people were able to duplicate that model and still do weight loss challenges today, right? People do them online, people do them, at local or or live still. So thinking about all that, and using technology and all that, how can we be duplicatable? So on the way home, I was asking a couple questions to some people. And first of all, we came up with about a year or two ago, I think it was, we had heard Brooke Kerwin talk about the 3 buckets that people put their people in. Do you guys remember that? At a training, and she talked about, the distributor page, Facebook page, the PM page, and the distributor page. You guys remember that? And we came up with the distributors on the move page. We came up with the happy customer page, and then we also came up with the preferred member page. So let me ask you guys, this is off mute. So out of the 4 of us, who adds their people to those four groups? Besides myself. Did you guys create your own? I mean, what are you doing? I can't, oh, you can't get off mute? Huh. I muted you all, so let's see how I did that. Unmute all. Andrew then.
Okay, I'm able to unmute now.
All right. So, do you guys add people to those 3 buckets?
I know that Jamie does.
Okay.
I don't, just because I don't want us to duplicate. So we've kind of delegated that a little bit.
Okay, so she adds your people into those 3 buckets I was just talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have those for ourselves as well.
So you have 1 person in two customer buckets, 2 distributor buckets, and 2.
I think it's more 2 distributor buckets. So the one that includes all of the team plus the things that we're doing on our own.
Yeah, like promotions or
right.
Okay, gotcha. Absolutely. Okay. Angie, how about you?
No, I don't.
Okay. And Tammy? You can't unmute? Okay.
It's stuck.
I'm
Okay.
okay.
Now that you gave me the choice.
Okay.
But if I mute again, then I'm not able to unmute. So I add our distributors to distributors on the move page, and then I have my own pages for PMs and clients.
Okay, no problem. So let me ask you this. When Jason was talking, he said that they add value as a team to their pages. So let me ask you some questions, okay? So on your pages, on your customer page, do you do newsletters? Do you post a weekly calendar? Do you do weekly lives? And do you do challenges within the page? Do you do anything of this sort on your customer page? Jenny, you muted yourself. You guys stay on mute. Let's see if I can get you out. Okay,
I have too much background noise. I've got my vacuum going and the kids. So I do challenges within on those pages. I do not do anything with a newsletter. I just started doing live, just live videos of me meal prepping or making a shake, or as simple as showing them how to add 2 scoops of Formula One to Greek yogurt. So
who else in your group does the same type of stuff on that page?
They don't. So as you already know from the phone call that we were on the other day, Erin's organization, Savannah's organization, and then those that are in my organization but not in Erin's or Savannah's.
Mm-hmm.
We've all kind of been doing our own thing because of how they're choosing to do the business and what they want.
Now, Carol, you put your customers in you put them in the group, right? Our group, right? The customer page, or are you doing your own customer page?
I believe that Jamie's doing her own customer page.
So does she do all the above?
She does not do a newsletter. She does do lives. What were the other things?
Newsletters, posting calendars on a weekly basis, live videos, challenges within the page.
Live videos and challenges. She does not post calendars.
Does anybody else do the same thing leadership-wise in your group? Carol. She must be frozen or something. So and then Ann says you don't have a customer on right now, which is no problem. So that's the consensus that I'm getting from everyone, is everyone's doing something different. You're duplicating, but no one's duplicating value. Okay, so we have a choice. In the distributors on the move page, I know that we do some stuff, but I think it's all random stuff that we do. And I don't think there's any consistency to it. Okay, so could we get better? Absolutely. Could more of us show more value on those pages? For sure. If we combined our customers to a group together, could all of us add value? Okay, so that's something to think about, because I know for Jason's organization, everybody's on one and they all create value together. Okay, so that's just something to think about, food for thought, to lead into what I'm going to talk to you next about. Okay, so that's to support the 3 types of people: the customer, the distributor, and the preferred member. Now, the other thing is talking about distributors. And I could ask each and every one of us what our 10 steps are that we take people through when we get someone started. And we probably all do something a little different.
Yeah.
Just like when we did weight loss challenges, it was written out, and we had it step by step, and no one wavered from it. That's how we were able to create so much duplication within the weight loss challenge. So let me ask you, we do have the level 10 startup. How many of you guys use the level 10 startup still with new distributors?
Most of the time we do.
Yeah, we do as well. It does need some updating though.
Yes, it does. You're right. Okay. Angie, how about you?
No, I don't use level 10 startup.
Can I ask why? You're not the only one, by the way. There's a lot of people that don't use it.
I guess I just forgot about it. I didn't even know it was still up.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, guess what?
What?
We're all in the same boat because a lot of people don't use that page. Use the distributor on the level 10 startup. So we need to create something within our organization that we can duplicate. That is simple, it's duplicatable. When we bring on a new distributor to be able to follow those key steps. And it's pretty cool because we've been able to create, I'll show you what we've created so far. So this is the level 10 startup. This is on the back end right now. This is not live. Okay. We can change names if you want on here to something different. We can put a different photo on here if you want. So we can do whatever you guys want. But when someone comes on here and they just get started, they click on whoever's press team or upline that they've got that has their system, and they click on it, and then they have their steps. Okay, it's all password protected once you get from here. So when you click on mine, and then you have to get a password just like you did with the level 10 startup. Okay, which is super cool that we're able to do that, so we can create our own duplication process. Okay, we can create a system that we all follow, because we know that, you know, a lot of times, like we do stuff and then we put it in Dropbox, or we put it in the distributors on the move page, and then people have to go try and find it, and then we have to lead them to it, and then we have to tag them. It's kind of a mess sometimes. And this is just going to be our system, our 10-step system. We could put promotions in there. We could put, we can do whatever we want in that page, right? But our 10 steps need to be in there. So if you're getting someone started with Herbalife, there's lots of things that we do. Like Jason talked about his 10 steps, and I'll just tell you what they are, so you guys kind of remember if you're at the LDW. His 10 steps were basically, he still uses 3-day trials. And when I met with Jack and the rest of the Kramers and Ingos and Tiffany and Rick, and we talked about 3-day trials, it was 50-50. 50% were using 3-day trials, 50% were not. And so I know that's probably the same thing in our organization, especially if we're not using the level 10 startup page, we're not using 3-day trial. So we have to come up with a system that works for people that just are doing maybe drumming classes or doing weight loss challenges, that are working in nutrition clubs. We need to come up with a system that our team can follow. So I'm pretty excited about this, because we can come up with it, and you don't have to put it on the, you know, on the link. Glenn's volunteered to do all that for us. Yay. So all we have to do is come up with the content for our 10 steps. So when Jason was talking about his 10 steps, he did an intro, and was step 1 was an introduction, and had people order their 3-day trial, and they filled out their goal sheet. Number 2, they opened their business on social media. They were looking for 10 people to do a 3-day trial. They download the flip book. Basically, kind of like what we've done on the 3-day trial system. Okay. Now, that's one system. Another system that I can let you guys know about, and we can get more into detail about this. I would just wanted this call to be really quick to know that this is some stuff that we can do that's for us, that we can come up with our own flow so we know where people are at. Okay, so this is one. It's called the Legacy Binder, and it's I think it's somebody underneath Dan Waldron. But their first step is to log into Herbalife, take the required trainings, talk about personal consumption, getting a result on the products, download Zoom, set up customer website, print off pricing sheets, create your name list from the memory jogger, print off wellness profiles, get their scripts set up their business, their PayPal, their Square, all that stuff, and getting their goals, and then getting to 500 points and signing up for your first training. Okay. Here's another one. Another one I have is download the apps Telegram, the Herbalife Learning Center, the POS, join Telegram. Step 1 is to complete the online training, get results on products, set up their credit card payment system. Number 3. Number 4 is show up to the HOMs on a weekly basis online and register for your first STS. Come up with the 100 name list. Work on getting 5 to 7 customers, so qualifying for DAP. Number 7 is duplicate. The key is to show, tell, try, do with someone. Implement documents. Show importance of documents, paperwork, taxes, personal development, and setting up their goals. So by me looking at these 3 different things, some things have, all of them have some things in it, but they're none in the same order. Okay, doesn't mean any of them are wrong. That's just what they decided to do. So how do you think something like that would be beneficial for us?
I know that after LDW, Jamie and I talked a lot about the fact that going back to basics and working on the things that were working for us when we were making movement is what we decided we were doing, which is part of what we're doing right now as far as our own personal volume and helping our newest distributors create that as well.
Angie, Tammy?
For me personally, within our organization, I feel same that it is going back to the basics and, getting into action. We kind of know what the steps are, but yet we don't all take the same steps. Their synchrony isn't there. And yeah, there's definitely value in having that on paper. And everybody doing the same thing if we can all do the same thing.
Ange?
Well, I think just giving a new person direction and something to do is always a good thing.
Yeah. And make it as easy as how we did with the weight loss challenge,
Mm-hmm.
Isn't
that what they're doing with the quad training though?
Well, but yes, but they've still gotta do all this other stuff. They still got to, get into action. They
Right.
still have to get going with their business. They still have to, download the support tools that we do. They have to take their online training with Herbalife so they can, when they do get out of the 3-day trial and they do get volume, they can document it. They have to look at the training first.
What is, maybe I'm out of line here, Lisa, so tell me if I am, but and I know each organization is different, but what are the Ingalls doing? What are the Kramers doing? They're moving, and they're moving fast. What are they doing?
they got their own 10 steps.
Yeah, what are those? And I know they have their own 10 steps, but what are those steps?
I don't know what they are yet. I know Ed and Gina are working on theirs, and I know that Ingo's have theirs. I was super sick last week when I was on the call, so I barely could remember. I took notes so I could remember because I was so sick.
Yeah, I know you were. Thank you for getting on those calls and bringing it back to us.
Yeah. I want us all to move. I know, where some of you guys aren't collecting your checks and at the level that you're at. And I don't want that to happen. I want us to be collecting our pins. I want us to be on the move. That's why when Jason said this from stage, and he said by duplicating this, and he has a quad training as well, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he also has one specific training 2 times a year that is specifically driven, like method training, like nutrition clubs. And then he works on getting people their 3, 5, and 10 stone pins. And what that's done for their business is, like I said, it's increased 100,000. They got to 30K. But it's the energy by going back to the steps that he did that whole entire weekend, because I went back and looked at his notes. And I can tell you in 20 years of Herbalife, I've never gone back and studied some of these notes as much as I did this. I was so, and I honestly have listened to Jason a little bit and never thought I understood him as much as I did at the LDW.
It's very clear.
But yeah, very clear. Took pictures of all of the slides. I'd be more than willing to share them with you guys if I can figure how I did them off my iPad. But he said by doing all this, the collaboration of the customer Facebook page, the preferred member Facebook page, adding value to those pages with a structure, with the distributor on the move page, with a structure, and then going to these 10 steps made a huge difference in their business. It increased the energy in their team, the confidence, it increased customers, new clubs opening, pins changes, and people recollecting at their pin level. So I was pretty jacked about it. And, it's taken me a little bit to get on the call with you guys, but once we came up with this website, listen, I think the reason, and this is just my opinion, okay? I think the reason that people don't use the level 10 setup is because they didn't have input on it.
Because they didn't have what?
What?
They didn't have input on the steps. I could be wrong. Some people might have tried 3-day trials, dabbled in them, but didn't stay with the model of 3-day trials. So I mean, I think it's great. Yes, it's a little outdated, Tammy. You're right. Some of the videos are outdated and whatnot, for sure. Some information, but there's good content there. I go back there and pull off my docs all the time.
Absolutely.
So,
I went from, so just to give you some insight, I went from, and I'll make this very brief, but what happened with me, and then trying to do the business from home, I found out that level 10 was there. I had to contact 3 of my distributors to get a freaking password in order to get into it. Because I didn't know what the password was. Nobody communicated that with me. So not knowing what that password was, what is a huge hindrance.
Everybody knows the password across Herbalife. If they're working.
That was the thing. I didn't know.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things. But then going into it, I tried 3-day trials. That wasn't the deal. That wasn't my DMO at all. So I chose to skip that unless that was the last resort for a program to start someone on.
Okay.
And then went from there. So I feel like level 10 does have lots of valuable information on it, and we can kind of, It has the basics, and you can choose to do 3-day trial if you want or not. That's just my sense on it.
Carol, how about you? You guys start everybody out on the 3-day trial system?
Well, especially now that the IVPs come with that. You know, they come with the 3-day trials. So, yes, we've gone back to doing that. Originally, it was, you know, having a shake party and trying to get people to create their customers and bring them into the club and announcing their opening for business, that kind of thing. And then having their 3-day trial packs there so that they had an opportunity to sell if they, you know, if they wanted to. Somewhere along the line, we did get off the track of that. And I know that we did have some frustration with the password as well, because it tended to change without people knowing what that change was. So you had to do some tracking down to find out what that was. But for the most part, we're still doing the level 10 plan, because it's written out and it really gives the new person an idea of what it is that the expectations are.
Yeah. Okay. Angie, how do you get a new person started? What are you teaching?
We do grand opening, shake parties at the club.
And are you getting them selling programs, or are you getting them to sell 3-day trials?
We do programs.
New programs? Gotcha.
But
Well, I'll
hey,
tell you, I'm kind of like,
Lisa, I'm gonna have to hop off at 8:30, but I'll come back on. I have something I have to do.
okay, no problem.
Okay.
So I'm like you, and I'm like you guys. I do 3-day trials. I have them on hand. I was very diligent with them at the beginning, and we were rocking. Bryce was active world team from 3-day trials. And then I got wrecked on, and I just started selling programs. But I can sell programs.
Mm-hmm.
The new guy can't sell programs. So
I can.
but you can, and Jamie can, and Carol can, and Andy can, and all the chat teams can. But the new guy can't, or is afraid to sell a $200 program. And why are we doing Herbalife? For ourselves or for duplication? I'm struggling with this too, so I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying, you know, we've got to figure this out.
But why do we have to, I guess, okay, so the way I was taught coming into this is that we have programs that begin at $40, $32 at the time when I started. And that's one shake a day, one canister. So why, I guess that was one thing that I didn't understand, and I see within my organization is that they don't know how to sell a program because they were taught 3-day trial. And maybe that's my narrow-minded thinking. I try not to be that way, but that's what I've noticed. I have team members that are distributors that have no flipping clue what Cell Activator is until I tell them. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So programs start at $20, 3-day program. And they can go upwards of whatever. What's going to work within your budget? You tell me and let's get you started. That's what I teach. I just based on what I know and what I've been through personally with my results, if somebody would have handed me a 3-day trial to start with, you wouldn't have gotten me.
Okay.
So that's just my personal insight on it. I'm open.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But that's my personal insight.
I am too, because I'm selling programs. I sold $400 worth of products yesterday to a lady that came in. By the end, she had $400 of stuff. So I get it. I do it too all day long. But when we're talking to
No, but I'm talking even with customers or even with other distributors though.
I gotcha. So, but I think that has a lot to do with, I don't think we can blame 3-day trials as much as we can blame nutrition clubs. You know, people come into a nutrition club, what are they getting started on? Shake, tea, and aloe, right?
And aloe.
And yeah,
Right.
and that's what they're purchasing before the vitamins. You know, and I don't even have to do a presentation and someone's going to get started on it until I sit down with them and go over the value. So is it really the 3-day trial or the club, or is it us not teaching the process?
It's not teaching the process. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And instilling that value.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
You're not just selling something.
I think the difference
Yes,
the difference, Tammy, with the 3-day trial is that it's a little increment with a little bit of money that gives people confidence in the products and in their ability to sell. They don't and they don't understand all of the products. I can't tell you the number of people who have said, I can never do that because I can't teach it the way Carol does or the way Jamie does or whatever. And yet if I start them with a 3-day trial, then they're moving along the system and learning just as well as we are.
And I agree that distributors don't know about the basics of nutrition. I get it. And it's our fault because we don't teach it inside the Distributors on the Move page. We could go on and do a snack defense training or a multivitamin or a cell activator training all day long on training people how to do a presentation, but also training them on the products and the value of products.
But do we really need to do that when we have nutrition training? We have nutrition training right on myherbalife.com. That's part of our training now.
Yeah.
Why can't we make that part of our 10 steps that they're utilizing the myherbalife.com website instead of us constantly having to, you know, the responsibility constantly being put on us when we already have a ton of responsibility on us?
Well, we can
Herbalife already put those tools out there.
Yeah.
The hardest part with that, Tammy, for us, I'm going to tell you, is keeping track of whether they have or they haven't. And if they haven't, then you can't really move them forward. You can't really do anything else with them. And then you move forward and then they're ticked off because they're not getting the help that they think they need. So
But you'll know if they're not doing it because if they can't tell you what cell activator is, this is how I've caught some people. I'm like, okay, you didn't study the catalog.
I understand.
If you can't tell me what cell activator is.
Yeah, I understand that part of it, but it's keeping track then of saying, all right, did you do this today?
Do we really want to take that on, or do we leave that up to them to do that?
I just know for me, I'm not going to read the catalog. I didn't read the manual and the distributor manual. I'm not a good reader, so I'm not going to go do that.
Right.
I learn by listening and by writing it down and asking questions. You know, I mean, we can lead them to the nutrition video. We can put a link in our steps for them to go see that for sure. But then I think we also have them watch us and listen to us do a product presentation too. You know, once someone maybe does a 3-day trial where they're sitting down on the 4th day and they're getting started on the product. And I think cell activated and multivitamin important too, for sure. But also, you know, when people have a budget, then you're working with that as well. I get it.
Absolutely.
So I think that we have room to work, you know, on some stuff and some 10 steps for sure. So with once you've watched this video and for you guys that are on, if you can just do me a favor and maybe write down some steps. Doesn't have to be in order of what you think are 10 most important steps, and then we can massage those to work with. And the next call that we get on will be probably an hour-long call or longer to really dig down and go over the steps. Is that fair? So I think that all of us need to really think about the steps, think about, what we do, how we want it to work within the team. And then we can break it down, because I think where we add value in our internet, the Facebook, or when they click into my face on our 10 steps, is they can click on a video and they can meet Carol, or they can meet Tammy, and they can meet Angie, and they can meet Randy. They can meet all of us together, right? And now we're developing the relationship. They're seeing different faces besides me, their coach. If I send a guy there to do the 10 steps and all he does is tell me, he's just taking my word for it, right? But if Carol's covering step 2 and Tammy's covering step 3, and she's doing step 4, we're going to tell our stories at the beginning of that thing, right? Tell what products we got started on. And by doing that, we're training as we go too.
Can we get insight from what the other the Kramer and Engel organization is doing?
I can ask.
I'm all about duplication. And if they're already moving, maybe we tweak it for us, but at least, I don't know, if they're willing to share.
Yeah, got it. I'll ask.
Just a thought. Thank you.
And, we can come together. I've chatted with Jeff and said, hey, if the Ingles has theirs and the Kramer has theirs, and, Tiffany wants hers and whatever. Listen, to me, it's just 10 steps of duplication that we need to create and go with. If we all have an input on it, I don't care if mine's jacked, and when they click my face, they still go into the same thing that's on Jack. I don't care.
Okay.
What I care about is increasing your guys' checks. You can collect your bonuses every month. That's what I care about. So I think it starts with the duplication process and adding value to those 3 pages. That's where I think we start. And we all add value, if not one person. And I think that's what happens when we decide to do our own customer page or our own distributor page or whatever. I think that's what happens, and we don't see the value all of it together. And they miss all the stories too. And listen, what's our job? To go out and get more customers, to get results, to get more distributors, and the preferred members, right? And if we have to worry about always posting on our team or on our pages all the time, we don't have a plan. We've never had a plan on those pages. We've never had a calendar system that we went by or whatever. Who's going to do what? I think that would add huge value. So think about it and get back with me. And in the Facebook, what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a telegram between the people that were on here. And once they watch this video, they can tell me they watch it, and I'll invite them into the telegram, and then we can start our 10 steps together.
Okay.
And we'll start to work on it until they listen to the video, okay?
Sounds good.
Guys have any questions? Anything else? Okay, well, Carol and Jamie are rocking it. They sold, how many bags of coffee are you at now, Carol?
29.
29 bags of
Might
coffee.
be more than that. I haven't checked.
Crazy.
How many have you sold, Lisa?
18.
I didn't put it back.
I'm not doing very good compared to you guys, but that's awesome. Super proud of you guys. Next month we'll have another competition just between the tab teams. Who can sell the most coffee? That's for sure. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for getting on. I really appreciate it, guys. Love ya.
Yep.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.